Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on.
I just want to get a few comments out of the way before we start this video so you don't have to comment these things. If you're ultra sensitive for any critical conversation with DC, Superman, or James Gunn, hey, you don't read comic books. Let's get that comment out the way. And then if you are going to be negative no matter what James Gunn or DC does, I hate James Gunn. Let's get that comment out the way. For the rest of y'all, strap in. We're going to have a little conversation about this Superman film in DC. What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the Superman channel. We had a pretty interesting previous live stream as we were live reacting to the new full story Superman trailer. This trailer ultimately, this was the ultimate sell for the general audience. At times I get information dealing with marketing and polling and testing. Dog lovers have been loving it. Women have been loving crypto as well, specifically. And we knew we were going to see more crypto shots. We pretty much saw all the crypto's parts in the film, except one situation. Like seriously, like they showed us everything. They sold a lot of crypto. And again, it's worked with target audiences. But overall, this trailer, this was the ultimate sell to me. It was, selling Corenswet, selling the action as far as in the film as well too. So I'm gonna point out just a few of the highlights. My overall thoughts of the trailer, I'll kind of talk about it as we pick out some highlights, but this trailer did what it needed to do, right? That's kind of the theme of my conversation today. A lot's been said about the Clois situation, the Clois moments in this trailer. And I was wondering, because there's different people that are huge fans of Clark and Lois together, and then you had the Clark and Lana, the Klana with the Smallville days. That was a whole fight. That was really like gang affiliations online during the Smallville days. But and at that time it was just through message boards, like it wasn't really Twitter going hard. So anyway, you got the Clark and Lois, and it kind of just threw us in this, right? And I think this is going to be a pretty interesting scene in the film, in context as well too. But I was curious how both of these guys, the chemistry, how they play off each other. And I gotta say, this was very effective use of this Lois interviewing Superman. You get the first instance of the mannerisms of Corenswet Superman, of his Clark, of his Superman, or whatever. He seems like kind of like a corny dude, like that big galoot thing that James Gunn was saying he wanted his Superman to be. This is your first instance, and just again the mannerisms. This was very intriguing. This beginning of this trailer, it took me back in real time, and I was like, I gotta digest this. Like what Corenswet just gave us here. He's almost giving us too much.
You seemingly acting as a representative of the United States.
I wasn't representing anybody except for me and doing good.
In his performance here, and not in a bad way. It's just like, whoa, I gotta we've never seen a Superman act like this in live action. They go through this whole situation where Lois is taking this interview seriously. Now, first off, too, I'll be remiss not to point out the whole, he changes his voice.
Miss Lane.
Saying Miss Lane, that's callback to the Christopher Reeve, and they are fans. There's fans of this, right? So, like I said, Corenswet, they threw a lot at us. Gunn threw a lot at us in this opening moments here with Corenswet. The blinking scene, because in the first trailer there was a lot of critique from the teaser trailer, like, oh, why did he blink when they threw a can in his head and stuff like that. Really small stuff, in my opinion. People like to pause and zoom in and things like that, so I get it, but nothing. It wasn't a big deal. But they took the blink out, according to the sleuths out there, because apparently that was going to make or break the film, I'm sure, for millions of people, right? But it's explaining the situation where Superman went into this fictional land, I think it was Baravia, and he did it without the permission of the countries and the United States. So he acted on his own. Very similar to what people remember from BVS, the beginning, where Henry Cavill goes into that land, saves Lois, acts on it without the permission, and that became a question in BVS. You know, should Superman just be able to act on his own, cross different borders? And that was an interesting question that Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio, put in the script of BVS, and they made it a question, and they sort of wiped out that storyline. In that hearing, right? You had the bomb, and that was really Zack Snyder's way of presenting the question and then leaving it open-ended, because now it's about Batman versus Superman, and Lex creates Doomsday, and all this stuff happens in the third act of BVS. You don't really get the answer to that question. You get the question, you get the great montage, like, must there be a Superman? Great dialogue, great conversations that BVS opened up, and then you saw how it was affecting Clark, right? And then, like I said, Zach just left it a question. What it appears that James Gunn is doing, he's kind of revisiting that question, and he may feel this is an homage to Zack Snyder, and then Gunn wants to answer the question. Now, how will you execute that? How will this end? Where is Superman going to be a government boy, like in Dark Knight Returns, and things like that? We're going to answer the question. Sort of Cavill, in a way, if Black Adam would have succeeded, you saw Cavill it appeared he was kind of working with Amanda Waller in a sense, or the government, but we never got the answer to, again, that conclusion. After, in BVS, after you presented the question, should Superman act on his own will or on the will of the government, then everyone got blowed up, right? And then Superman died. Superman returns, and then we don't see how is this laid out with the government. So, like I said, definitely similarities to the BVS story, and I see a lot of people are picking up on it, and but Gunn is going to attempt to answer that question. We'll see the execution. So definitely wanted to address the whole BVS comparison thing. To see again the passion of Corenswet. This it caught me off guard. If y'all saw the live stream, I was like, this dude, I wasn't ready for that, right? I knew Corenswet was a great actor, and, but I didn't know he's going to be this passionate.
People were going to die.
He's really making this his own role. This is a different Superman. He's not trying to act like Christopher Reeve. Probably at moments he's not. Obviously he's not trying to be like Henry Cavill. He's trying to do his own thing. And so I actually respect that. Just wasn't ready for all this passion and emotion. And Lex Luthor is such a hater. I said that's how the haters look. And if you think of betas online, this is the expressions they give. Just a very hateful smirk there. Props to Rachel Brosnahan when they were testing different Lois Lanes, and they was saying different actresses was up for it. I thought she would be great. She really is in this role. She's really playing this part, I think, pretty well in this scene at the very least. A very effective Lois, journalist, going to ask those hard questions, doesn't care if it hurts your feelings, and she's just needling him to death in this interview. And so I was like, okay, that's Lois Lane. So this trailer, like I said, it sells Corenswet. I think Lex is fine. Nicholas Hoult, he's probably gonna be the standout once you see the film, but Corenswet's bringing it. But it's so Lois as well too. Again, effective trailer. And I guess I want to kind of push back on that very, very first teaser of the teaser to the film. A lot of people online was making it like, it looks cheap and CW. James Gunn is definitely doing something different with the color grading in this film. And again, this could be a risk. We're used to darker color grades because we just came from, decades of people doing all these CGI cuts of these scenes. So the darker, the saturated the film is, you can add more CGI, right? And what James Gunn is attempting is to actually turn the color up, and the cinematography is obviously another thing too, but he wanted to add more color, and that makes it probably a little more difficult also for CGI. So again, when something's doing something relatively new that we haven't seen before, people don't know how to define it, right? They don't know how to put it in a box. And usually that means that this is something unique, right? And that's what this is. And also, once we see all this in context, we'll see how the shots look. So, there's things about this film I'm pretty sure I'm going to, have my critiques on. The way that it actually looks, I'm really not in that camp where I'm saying, oh, this looks like CW every single shot. No, I mean, it just, I don't think we've ever seen a big budget film like this to really lean into this color and not be so saturated, right? So that's my take on that. So this part here of, hey buddy, eyes up here, or
hey buddy, eyes up here,
is causing a lot of nerds online to nerdgasm over Superman, the mannerisms of Superman. Again, I talked about the Superman that I prefer. This is a different version. This is leaning more into the, like I said, the kind of the quippy dad joke, big galoot type of Superman, the old fashioned, I guess, if people want to call it. And that's what when we're talking about the Silver Age, that type of angle may not be for everyone, right? But this is a version of a Superman, and this really resonated well. I talk about here stuff about marketing and polling. This resonated well with people that wants this, this Silver Age style. In my opinion, I put that as Silver Age Superman. It doesn't take me out of this part or this scene. This seems to be an action scene. The engineer. There were a couple things this trailer had to do, because that first teaser trailer I thought was effective introducing this world. You saw the Justice Gang, or whatever they call them. I think they're going to be called the Justice Gang. And, you saw your first look at Superman, stuff like that. Okay, great. In this trailer, you had to sell Corenswet, and I believe they did, for better or worse, if it lands with you or not. And we definitely had to see more action. Ultraman, Engineer, definitely Engineer, just something from Engineer. And we got some finished shots of Engineer, and it looks great. And I think the action is going to be great. That's one thing I was confident in, after seeing the behind the scenes that we've covered on this channel. The action I thought was really going to be good. And I think this definitely going to pay off in the film. More crypto. I've continuously heard crypto has been testing very well. Dog lovers, and then specifically they say women and children, but all dog lovers loving their crypto. I think his CGI is fine. Again, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm not on board with this whole thing that everything's cheap. It looks okay. I mean, like we said on the live stream, it's a CGI dog. That's what it looks like. I don't know what else it's supposed to look like. I know some people prefer different versions of crypto, like from the Titan show and things like that, but this crypto's fine. So this tagline here, of the film, it's the actions is who makes you who you are.
Your choices, your actions, that's what makes you who you are.
And that's again Superman saying it's about doing good.
I wasn't representing anybody except for me and doing good. People were going to die.
He's getting this from his parenting, from Pa and Ma Kent, right? Now this part with Lex, again, you want to know Lex motivations. Nicholas Hoult talked about different comic runs that he looked to for his Lex, but it all comes back to the same thing with Lex. Is Superman is an alien.
He's not a man. He's an it. He's somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation.
Right, and Lex is like, he shouldn't be adored. He's not one of us, right? And so that's a little, if you want to know Lex motivation, it's the same as it's always been with Lex, and it got metamorpho, which people picked out that, hey, he's turning his hand to kryptonite. Is that what's going on right there? That's something we saw from the animated series, Justice League animated series. So that got a lot of people excited. Again, we got the Justice Gang. Hey, just looking forward to how they're implemented into the story. So you got Ma Kent, because people were saying, we knew Ma Kent was cast, but then they didn't show her in the teaser trailer. So they're like, oh, did they kill off Ma Kent? Like, what's going on? No, hey, she cleaned his boots. So we're kind of piecing the story together where Superman is getting out there getting messed up. He may have got hit by kryptonite or something. We saw a little shot earlier where he's laying down and it looks like those veins of kryptonite. But he goes to Smallville to get rested up. His suit's dirty, and his mom cleans the suit, cleans his boots, right? So this is the suit, guys. I guess this is how the suit gets cleaned. Ma Kent cleans it up. And yes, we got the Superman versus kaiju. I know kaiju is he is very ugly. I get it. I guess some people wanted a prettier kaiju. I don't know. I don't know what you were really wanting from a huge menacing kaiju that Lex grew in a lab. I know we made a joke in the live stream that y'all want him to look like Godzilla, or what do we want here? I'm going to say, okay, so some people are saying it doesn't look detailed enough. I think that looks pretty detailed. I got to push back on that. Could it be it's an unfinished shot? Maybe they got to, mix it up a little bit, mix in that image in the scene a little bit more. But I think the kaiju looks fine. I think he's ugly for a reason, and Superman punches him. That's all I want to see from this kaiju. And again, that's that Silver Age, larger than life type monsters that they're throwing at Superman. So interesting. We get a Guy Gardner, again, using the construct, backhanding someone. Pretty cool. He looks like a douchey dude. So that's what's going to be his expression the entire film. And anything he shows up in, we saw the Peacemaker trailer, and you see Guy just looking like a huge jerk. It did, he's going to be in the Lanterns series as well. So this is the character. We'll see how it blends in. Now, up to this point, the trailer seemed pretty serious. Again, that first part where Corenswet is very passionate, emotional, definitely sets the tone. But then we knew in this film from the sneak peek, there's going to be some slapstick moments, some fun moments, some Gunn-isms. So you got Clark and Jimmy out just doing something very goofy right here. It's like, okay, that fits a James Gunn film. We'll see that in context. And what a lot of people are talking about is Miss Tessmacher doing a selfie while the Hammer of Barabia is heat visioning a building behind her. This is total James Gunn right here. Total James Gunn moment. Not surprised. Again, I've always said this, I'm expecting an uneven experience when I watch this in theaters. And I think it's going to be some cool sci-fi moments, action moments. I think Corenswet is actually going to do really well just based off this trailer. He's giving us something different. And then there's going to be the Gunn-isms, the jokes, the goofy moments. And so Gunn can help himself. So he threw this in here. And it's like, hey, it's going to be moments. Again, this is moments of levity. He's destroying a building behind her. And she's, doing the selfie. That's Marvel. That's that Marvel style that people try to say, right? And Gunn, he was there early for that formula, and then Gunn has his own twist on stuff. So that's just what this is, folks. And my gauge for this film is, I know there's gonna be moments that I'm going to like as far as action, and I think Corenswet's performance, as I said, Nicholas Holt's performance, Rachel Brosnahan, Lois. It's gonna be moments that I like with the Justice Gang, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner doing this thing, Hawk Girl on the attack. And then there's going to be moments, like this. Is it going to take me out of the film? We won't know till we see it, right? But that's how I'm kind of going into this film. My mindset going into it. Another cool moment with the engineer. Again, this is what really it's the action, y'all. That's what's going to get me to theaters for sure for this. So you got this whole almost liquid metal, but this is more like dirt, the engineer. And I want to say, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comics, I don't remember the engineer being able to break down like into nanites. She could shoot him out. She can form stuff. This looks like either she's shooting something at him in a form of nanites, or did she become this form? We'll see. We'll see when we see the film. Another good shot of Metamorpho. And then this is either outer space, or in the Pocket Universe, this little part where someone's lasering at Superman and things like that. Really quick flash. So we got to see the film to see what this is. And so if people were worried about that opening scene where Clark and Lois are arguing and Clark is upset about the heat visioner, hey, they make up, guys. They make up. By the end of the film, you're seeing an argument between a couple, and just one of them happens to be able to, destroy the whole planet. He has the capabilities of destroying the whole planet. But that's interesting. Like I said, I think they're gonna be fine. Clois fans, I guess, like it. And of course, the final stinger, crypto. Gotta have your crypto because that's been testing well. And you've pretty much seen all his scenes, except one pivotal kind of moment as well. I thought overall, this was a good trailer. This trailer did exactly what it needed to do. And, now it's about how the general audience, are they going to flock to it or not? Early indications are yes. I heard from the first teaser trailer that the marketing has been landing for the advertisers. They're liking how this is reaching different demographics. In December, that worked really well. And then the marketing got weird after that. And we've talked about how they've changed marketing teams. They got a special consultant team just for Superman. Now I think with this new trailer, I think they did what they needed to do. And all indications are early testings that this is landing well. With the target audiences, they ran it during the NBA playoffs. And of course, Warner Bros. Discovery owns TNT, so they can put as much of this marketing of Superman as they can fit. So they're doing that. And like I said, I think it's coming across really well. So I'm definitely giving this trailer a positive scoring. I was already on board to see this film, but now I'm like, I think I'm going to enjoy for sure the action part. We'll see when the Gunn-isms